welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be the next update to Project Pan. So that's a video where I pull in a full face of products from my collection and try to use them up or hit pan on them. I do this series every other month, so if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like project panning videos. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, let's just get started talking about my progress on these products. All right, so everyone kind of has their own way of doing a project pan. For me personally, it's very similar to a project pan rolling style. So I pull in a full face of products and use them up or hit pan in them and then roll in another product in its place. I don't have the capacity to be doing multiple projects with prompts, etc. This is the best I can do, so that's what I'm doing and trying to just get some use, really focus in on some of the older products in my collection and just get them out of here rather than like using things here and there and then it just stays around forever. Before you know it, it's expired. So that's how I kind of do my project pan. All of the items I am wearing on my face today for the most part, and on my eyes, I have my Pan My Eyeshadows, which is a completely different series. So I update this series every other month, and then I do shadows in between those. So that way it kind of just rotates. It's not too many updates. Let's just get started talking about my progress though for the last 2 months. I'm gonna go in order of application rather than what has been in the project the longest so I don't forget anything. So that starts us off with primer. And the primer that I chose is the Becca Face First Light Priming Filter. I always forget the name and it's very small and light on here. So here is where I'm at. I rolled this in 2 months ago and I still take progress photos of each month so that way we can kind of just see more progress. So here's where it was at when I rolled it in. Here's where it was at in November, and then here's where I'm at today. So I've been making pretty good progress. There will be just some progress photos, some close-ups of all the products, and then at the end of the video, I'll be doing a montage just to see like more photos and progression. But I think I can have this done in the next 2 months by the next update. This is just very liquidy, so I'm going through it a lot faster than I anticipated. The primer I had previously was the Guerlain Lure primer, and that I only used 1 pump, put it on my face. This is just so much more liquidy that I use 2 pumps, and that's why it's going a lot quicker. So I'm excited to get this out of my collection. I mean, Becca's no longer a brand. I don't even know how long I've had this. I wouldn't say it's doing anything. At this point, I'm kind of just using it to use it and get some sense that I didn't waste my money, but it gives like a very nice subtle glow. It's, for me, just not enough. And that's coming from someone who doesn't really like an illuminating primer, but this just, it's like, it's almost useless. If you're going to use an illuminating primer, I want it to give something, and this just, it doesn't do it enough. As far as numbers go, I used it 13 times total in October when I rolled it in, and then November I used it 15 times. So since rolling it in, I've used it a total of 28 times. And this is the progress. So I think we're making really good headway. This is probably my most exciting update so far on all these products. The rest are not as good, but that's okay. Moving on to the next concealer. I've had this in the project since starting it, which now has been 12 months, I think. I just passed my year of doing Project Pan, so it's been in here a while. I just started tracking usage on my products, so I don't have all the usage like I should have. I'm kind of new to project panning, so I'm learning as I go here, but this is what it's looking like since the last update. I'm definitely using this more. Beforehand, I was kind of using this as a spot concealer because it's a little bit light for me And typically I would forget because I have to put it on under foundation in order to not see how light it is. And now that I've finished my eye primer, I'm using this as eye primer. So in October, I used it 23 times. In November, I used it 18. So since my last update, I've used it a total of 41 times. I mean, I've got to be close to hitting pan somewhere. It is getting harder to just get product out of the center because my nails are starting to hit the sidewall. So I'm kind of still trying to hit the center, but sometimes I have to go around, which just means once I do hit pan, it'll go from there. My goal for this is to finish it completely because I do have a backup of this in my correct shade. So that's the progress on the Nars Soft Matte Concealer. Now moving on to concealer, I have the Nars as more of a primer rather than concealer. I actually have two. I broke my rules a little bit because I also want to get through my samples and I just wasn't doing that. So I'm pulling in samples as I go also in conjunction, which is proving to be a lot more difficult than I anticipated. So the first sample I have, I'm only doing one sample at a time, is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Concealer. This is supposed to be kind of like a brush tip applicator is what it looked like. It had 3 little bubble samples in there and I had 2 packs of these. So I completely threw away this one, which was dark because that's just not my shade. And these little blister packs were really irritating me. They're just like, they get so messy. It was hard to get product out of it. That came with the shade 200 Natural and 300 Medium Fair. Natural was too light, Medium Fair was too dark. So I ended up depotting the 4 because I had 2 and putting them in this container here. And this is what I have left of it. We're getting there, but it is slow and steady. You do not need a lot of this to go under your eyes. In October, I used it 9 times, and then in November, I used it 16 for a total of 25 times for a little sample. And I mean, I still think I have like a good 20 uses in there. Granted, it was like 4 samples, but I did not expect this to last this long, quite honestly. So, you know, I was hoping I'd be able to get my other concealer out of here, but that's proving to be difficult because of this. So I might take a break from a sample once I finish that. I don't know. We'll just kind of wait and see. The actual concealer that I pulled in was this one, which is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. I had pretty good usage on this already. This is where I started when I rolled it in October, and then I used it, let's see, 6 times in October, which brought me to right about here, 3 times in November, which brings me to here. Not that much progress. That was a total of 9 uses, but that's because I was really trying to focus in on the By Terry. Once I have that By Terry done, I'm just gonna bang this out and get this out. It's one of my oldest concealers and I can tell like it's right on the cusp of maybe needing to toss it. And I love this concealer. As you can see, I mean, without even trying, I had already gotten to here and I have quite a few concealers in my collection. So this is super affordable, highly recommend it. They still make this concealer and you know, once I get my concealer collection maybe a little bit more manageable, that is one that I could see myself having in like like 5 concealers maximum. That would be one that I would have. That now brings us to the color corrector because I have a few color correctors that are unopened and I need to get through them. The one that I have open right now though that I'm trying to get through is the Benefit Boiing Brightening Concealer. I have the shade number 2. Now this as well, I've had in the project since the beginning. So last October, it's been over a year and it's been slow and steady with this. I mean, you don't need a lot of product because it just goes underneath your eyes. I've finally kind of gotten into a routine with this product. At first, sometimes I would forget to use it. So I wasn't getting the usage goal that I wanted. But now, like, I feel I'm gaining traction. It's becoming part of my everyday routine to just use this product. So in October, I used it 14 times. November, I used it 17, which brings a total of 31 times since my last update 2 months ago. And yeah, I have a feeling that I'm gonna hit pan on the Nars before this one. It's hard to tell like just how deep this goes because I have a feeling it's not this deep. Like there's no way. How much product does this have in it? It has 4.4 grams, 0.15 ounces. So I highly doubt it goes all the way there. Maybe it goes to here. I don't know. We're gonna find out together, but this is where I'm at. I'm gonna just keep plugging away at it. You do not need multiple color correctors is what I'm learning. And that brings us to foundation now. My foundation, I had to switch and I rolled in October because my last project pan, which I unfortunately didn't finish, is now too dark for me. It was the Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation. And there was no point in keeping it in the project if I wasn't going to be able to use it. So I decided to switch it up, pull out more of a winter foundation, and I'll probably go back to the Chanel in summertime, but I'm hoping I can have this finished by then. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. This is also one of the oldest foundations in my collection. I love this foundation. I remember I recommended it to my sister. She loved this foundation. So this is where I was at when I rolled it in October. I used it 9 times in October, 5 times in November, bringing me to a total of 14 uses, which brought me down to about here. It's hard to see where I'm at because I do have to shake this every time I use it. So I kind of I took a brush like this and did kind of like the oil, like when you're checking your oil in your car, I just stuck it down in there and then held it up to see where I'm at. That's the best I can do. I can really only guess. It's very cold now that it's winter, so product is sticking to the sides more than normal than if it was summer, so it's kind of hard to see the fill line, but that's my best guess where I'm at. 14 uses for 2 months, you know, that's not the best. It's not where I want to be, but I do also do Shop My Stash monthly. I'll link that playlist in the description box and I'll link it up above. I test a lot of foundations and do foundation reviews, so I'm happy with 14 uses, but I would really like to see that bumped up to maybe 20 uses by my next update, 10 uses per month. So about 30% of the time if I'm wearing makeup every day, that's kind of like my soft goal, I think, for the next update. And I'm hoping that brings me to like maybe there, like halfway done. So if I could do that, then I think I could finish this in 4 months, which would be perfect timing to then roll the Chanel in. So that's what I'm hoping, but we'll have to wait and see. That brings us now to powder. And this one's been in here for, I think, 4 months, 6 months. I don't remember. It's a travel size of the By Terry Hyaluronic Powder. It's a pressed version. This has, how much? 2.5 grams, 0.09 ounces. It's still taking me a long time. 2 months ago, I finally hit pan on it. And 2 months later, this is the progress. I've been making pretty good progress. I use this probably 90% of the time to set my under eyes. In October, I used it 15 times. November, I used it 19. So a total of 34 times in the last 2 months. And I decided after this update, I am going to repress this because it's getting very difficult to get my brush to pick up the product. So right after this video, I'm going to repress this and I will insert a photo of what it looks like now that it's been repressed, so you can see. And I'm hoping that once I repress it, it's gonna just fly by and I'll have this finished by the next update. So that would be very exciting to just have a second powder. I already finished up another powder in my project pan, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. So to have 2 under eye powders finished up, I would just feel really happy about that. And then I also have a finishing powder because I wanted to get some use out of this. I wasn't reaching for it. and this is a product that I love. This is the Mercier Candleglow Sheer Perfecting Powder. Very similar to the Hourglass powders, but I actually like this more. Unfortunately, my numbers don't reflect that, so I pulled this in October. I had a big kind of October refresh for my 1 year, and in October I used it 2 times, which I realized like, okay, we need to get my butt in gear. In November I used it 4 for a total of 6 times since rolling it in. Not that great. However, this product, so here's what it looks like. The problem with this product is that it does darken my foundation just a smidge. And since I'm just so pale right now during winter, it makes it hard to reach for this. It's beautiful on. Like I said, I love this more than the Hourglass powders, and that's why I wanted to pull it in. But it does, this is the shade, it's still the shade 1, but it does have some color to it. And if my foundation's already running a little bit dark, then it just kind of deepens it up even more. So I have to just be very careful. I have been trying to kind of go in with my creams, which we'll talk about in a second, then use this to set rather than a finishing powder. I'll just lightly kind of set the creams, and then I'll go in with my powder complexion products on top of that. And that kind of helps just blend it in a little bit more and not make it look as dark. This is just like the color corrector though. I need to get into the habit of using this every time I do my makeup. And after that, I know I'll just kind of reach for it without thinking about it. This is a baked product, so, you know, my goal is to finish this up completely. It's gonna be in here for a while, so just expect to continue to see this. And now that brings us to complexion. I have a face palette that I'm trying to pan fully. Not everything I want to finish. Some things I just want to hit pan on. We're kind of getting to those products, but I really want to finish this up. They don't make this anymore, and it's very old in my collection. I mean, you'll see a theme here. That's the purpose of me doing this project pan, is to use up my older products. So this is the Hourglass Illume Sheer Color Trio in the shade Sunset, but there's only 1 shade. I want to use this all the way up. And here's what it's looking like. It has a bronzer, blush, highlight. These are all creams. I think I'm making good progress. I do use it quite often. Pretty consistently, I would say. It's easy to just put under my powder products. So let's go over this. I did roll this in October. So for the bronzer, these are basically all the same numbers, but in October, I used the bronzer 10 times, and in November, I used it 12 for a total of 22 times since I've rolled it in. For the blush, I also used it 10 times in October, 13 times in November for a total of 23 times. And then same thing for the highlight, 10 times in October, 13 times in November for a total of 23 times since rolling it in. I think I'm close to hitting pan. I try, you know, I do want to hit pan, but I'm also trying to finish this up. So I don't just focus in on one center part to hit pan faster per se. I use a sponge every time I use this product, and I do try to sometimes like get the corners here, because once I do hit pan, I'll probably scrape it in so it's not so difficult, especially because like the middle part is more emollient than the outside. So just to kind of bring some life into this, even though it's old in my collection, like it still performs really nice. I like it on the skin. It's beautiful. So that's why I just want to get as much love out of this before it expires. And for powder products, I don't have a powder bronzer, but I have a powder contour. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder in Light. I just wasn't reaching for it, which is why I wanted to bring it in. And just like my Laura Mercier powder, I'm a little embarrassed. Here's what it's looking like. Rolled this in October again because I hit pan on my last bronzer, which was the Becca bronzer. So in October, I used this 5 times, and November I used it 8 for a total of 13 times since rolling it in. I have a feeling this is going to be in here for a while already. It's very big. It seems very small, but there's really quite a bit of product for what you're using it for. Personally, I am only using it to contour my nose because it's a little bit just too cool as a contour like on my cheeks. So I just go in with like a fluffy brush, do my nose like lightly, and that's about it. This is a little bit light for me, so I can kind of get away with using it as a nose contour. It's not too harsh on my skin. You don't see it. Like, I don't think you see it really, but it adds a little bit of something. I'm using it. This is, again, just one of those products I have to get into a routine of using, and I just will use it without thinking about it. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer because I saw my numbers for October and I was like, okay, I'm not pulling this in still. How can I use this? And nose contour is the way to go. My goal is to use this up completely, but we'll see. First goal is to just hit pan, and I know that's going to take me a while. So let's start with that and see where we go from there, because I know I'm going to want to pull in a powder or bronzer eventually, but for now I'm fine with the cream bronzer and using the powder contour. Now the blush, this is another one that's been in since the beginning of my project, over a year. It is the Ciate London blush in the shade Date Night. I don't think I really fully comprehended what I was getting myself into trying to pan a blush. My goal for this is just to hit pan, so it won't be in here for years and years and years, hopefully, but here's, ooh, my nail just popped off. Okay, here's what it's looking like. I will glue that on later. You know, I think when you look at the photos, you can see a difference, but it's hard to stay motivated with this. In October, I only used it twice, and that's because my October Shop My Stash, I loved my blushes, so I really had to just get myself into high gear on this. So November, I used it 12 times, so I've used it a total of 14 times in the last 2 months. I would, again, just like the foundation, really like to see my total usage up to 20 for my next update, 10 per month. I think that that's feasible. I don't want to give myself unrealistic goals. It is tough to just hit pan on this. I can't really like focus my brush on the center because it's raised around here. So naturally my brush kind of like hits the side. But we're gonna get there eventually. I mean, hopefully this is not too deep. It is, let's see, it is 4 grams of product. So I'm gonna just keep chugging away at this. It's a very beautiful blush. I'm wearing it today. I love it. It has a little bit of glow, but not too much. I don't like an overly glowy blush, and this gives a little bit extra without being too much. So I do really enjoy this, and I am interested to see how long it takes me to hit pan. Now for highlight, I've only had this in for 2 months, so I'm pretty surprised with my progress so far. This is the oldest highlight in my collection. It is the Dior Illuminating Powder in the shade 001 Pink Lace. It is beautiful. I've talked about this highlight on my channel multiple times. It is just this beautiful lace embossing. This like now goes for over $200 on eBay. It's very like hard to find collection Dior, but I found a backup. I have it unopened, so I want to use this one and keep that one as collection. I mean, it's like fully metal. It's the heaviest makeup product that I have, and my progress is good. I mean, I think because this is so old, it's a little bit powdery. There's a lot of kick up in the pan, which is why I think I'm going to hit pan sooner rather than later. My goal on this is to just hit pan, not completely use it up, and then I'll decide from there if I want to keep it in a little bit longer. But in October, I used it 7 times. November, I used it 10 times for a total of 17 times in the last 2 months. You can kind of see like a bigger dip there. The photo should show it better, and that's because I use it as a inner corner highlight sometimes, like I am today, using my Pan Those eyeshadows because there's not really an inner corner highlight shade, so I figured might as well get some extra use out of this highlight. So I'm really happy with my progress on this. I think that I'll definitely hit pan on this before the blush, but you know, I'm happy to just get some use out of the really old things in my collection. And then now we just kind of have like the miscellaneous things. So let's go over those. Next, we have setting spray. I'm gonna breeze through this. So in October, when I did my update, I had so little left. Like it was a insignificant amount. I used it 6 times and I was done with it in November. So this quickly just rolled out. I didn't want to roll something in until I had it out. I figured I can always bring in another setting spray and then start marking it once I, do this update. But I decided to just take progress photos then, and I just started using it. So this is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. This is what I'm rolling in to completely use up, and this was completely full when I rolled it in, and I used it 3 times in November. So this is where I'm at after 3 times after it being completely full. So this is gonna take me a while. I don't use setting spray every day. I'm not even wearing it today. So, I'm gonna try and get some use with it by like spraying my shimmers, using it if I use a lot of powder, but this is going to be another long haul project. I'm fine with that. I like just focusing on one setting spray and just kind of getting through my hoard and backup of setting sprays. I don't want to continue to be someone who has 15 setting sprays. Like there's no point in having that much of a collection of setting sprays. There's some categories where I just want it to be a little bit more curated, and setting sprays is one of them. So I'm going to hone in on this, try to use it, try to just finish it up and move on to the next. But I am happy that I finished this one because this one was quite old and I had a feeling it was like going to expire soon. So this is officially going to go in my empties. And then next up we have my stick products. We're getting through this, I promise. I know there's a lot, but I only wanted to do one project. I didn't want to do multiples. Let's first go over my eyeliner. This is the oldest eyeliner in my collection. It is a Dior eyeliner and it's in black. I don't use black a lot because black used to intimidate me, but I am wearing this today and I'm happy to say that I'm actually getting used to black as an eyeliner. I used to just think that black was just way, way too harsh, but it does have this little smudger on the bottom. I've been smudging it out, kind of doing like a very soft wing, and I'm getting used to it slowly. In October, I used it 5 times. November, I used it 5 times for a total of 10 times. And here is where I'm at for this. So you can see some progress. I'm pretty happy with it. It's more than I actually thought it was going to be. So not too bad. 10 uses isn't too much, but I'm happy with that progress considering I almost never wore black eyeliner. It's a start and hopefully I can get through this. Next up is my Dior lip liner. You'll notice a lot of Dior things. I used to be really, really obsessed with Dior for a while and purchased a lot of things from them. And this is an interesting product, which is why I rolled it in. This is a lip liner and it's a glossy lip liner, which is terrible. Like, why would you want a glossy lip liner? So here's what it's looking like. It is just so emollient. I don't even use it as a lip liner. I use it basically as a lipstick. So I lined my lips with MAC Whirl and then I put this on top because it is just very, very pink. You'll see the progress that I made. So in October, I used it 4 times. November, I used it 5 for a total of 9 times since rolling it in 2 months ago. And that is my progress. So for a lip liner, I mean, that's pretty good. It's because, I can only use this 2, maybe 3 times before I have to sharpen it because it just goes down so fast. That's fine with me. This is really just useless in my collection. So that's why I want to get it out of here and then I'll focus on maybe a better lip liner. Now, the lip product I brought in, I think I've had this in for 6 months now. I can't remember. It'll be up on the screen. But it is the Buxom Power Plump Lip Balm in Glowing. This was basically brand new when I rolled it in. I am making progress on it. This is it rolled all the way down. And this is how much I have left. It's kind of like a fat, chubby stick. So it's going to take me some time. I do not necessarily love this product. So it is a little bit tough. I feel like it's not flattering on my lips when I use it. In October, I used it 13 times. November, I used it 10 for a total of 23 times in the past 2 months. I'm happy with that number. I am also trying to just kind of finish up some lip glosses that are maybe half full. I like those better. So I'm trying not to force myself to hate pan this that much. I'm using it, just not super quickly. I did see in my last update, someone just commented recommending me to use this as a cream blush, which I haven't tried. I will definitely try that by the next update. It's just tough because I also have a cream blush in my project pan, so I don't necessarily want to do that and take away uses from my cream blush. I will give it a shot though, see if it's better that way. I don't know, like sometimes it looks fine on my lips and sometimes it just feels thick. Like you have to be really careful to not apply too much. It doesn't feel like a lip balm. I don't find it nourishing. It is supposed to have like a little bit of plumping. It does, yeah, sure, but not really. So I don't know. I want to use this as much as I can until I'm sick of it. You know, hopefully I can finish it up. I won't dig into it for sure and we'll move on to the next, but I'm not going to roll this out. I want to give it a little bit more love before doing that. And then the last two things I have, again, miscellaneous. I brought in a perfume and I need to pull it into a project to really motivate myself. That works for me, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is the Paco Rabanne Black XS. I bought this, I think I talked about it when I rolled it in 2 months ago. This is old. I think I bought this, I was 18, 19. I am 33, almost 34. I'll be 34 next month. So you do the math, I'm not going to. And you know, it still smells fine. I lusted over this perfume, and the reason I haven't used it that much is I was kind of savoring it, and then it just got lost in translation as my fragrance collection started to grow. So I used this 17 times in October, 13 times in November, for a total of 30 times. Now, I didn't want to mark the bottle because I do save and collect the bottles, but I saw another video on how to track it, so that is what I will be doing now. Unfortunately, I didn't do it for the first update, so this is my update from November to now. I do have photos though showing kind of where it was at. You know, right now we're kind of in the thickest part of the bottle, so once I get down to here, I'm hoping it'll just go a lot quicker. This scent is fine, like it's okay. It's not my favorite now. It's definitely more of a younger scent. It's passable though. I can wear it, and I normally wear it on days that I go to the gym because this fades really quickly, probably because of its age. So it's something I can just spray on before I go to the gym, and by the time I'm at the gym, it's really faded. It's not obnoxious or anything like that. So that's how I'm getting some use out of it, and I'll continue to do so. I'm glad that I'm finally just like focusing on this, and I'm excited to consider which one I'm going to pull in next. I don't know which one it's going to be, but right now I'm just enjoying using this. And the last thing I have to talk about are false eyelashes. My fantasy self wants to be a false eyelash person, but the reality is I'm just too lazy. So I figured I'm going to pull lashes into a project. A few uses is more than 0 uses because I have like a full drawer maybe of false eyelashes. So this is the Lily Lashes in the style Sassy. I use this 3 times in October, once in November for a total of 4. I think I said in my update when I rolled this in October that my goal was 5 uses, so I didn't make that, but I even really need to up it from that because 5 uses is going to take me 6 months. I can wear these like 30 times. So I don't know. I'm going to try and use these more with looks. I should have worn them today. I didn't. I mean, I don't really know how to like show you these, but this is what they look like. They're a half lash, so I thought that would be kind of like a good baby step to wearing lashes. I don't, even on an everyday basis, I'm not someone who wears like intense mascara. I wear 1 mascara. I don't go in with 3 different mascaras, multiple coats. So it's just taking a little bit of time to get used to myself wearing the lashes, and I'm also still in like those beginning stages where it takes me a long time to apply them. I'm at least glad I got 4 uses. Like I said, 4 is better than 0 because if I didn't pull it in the project, it would be at 0 uses. So my goal for the next update is to at least have more than 4 uses. Let's like at least see an upwards trajectory on this and just keep trying to use them. You know, I don't want them to go to waste. They don't expire, so that's a good thing. But still, like, if I'm not going to use them, I just need to get rid of them. So it's either wear them or get rid of them. And that's what I'm going to tell myself. But that is all of my products. I know that was a lot. I need to go drink some water before I repress that powder. But you'll have to let me know down below in the comments. Are you doing Project Pan? Are you someone who likes to do more of the projects? I am part of, there's like a Facebook group, the Fantastic Ladies collabs, and they do like a bunch of fun projects with themes like happy hour and animals with prompts like, I think this year they're doing 50 Shades of Yellow, and then next year it's a different color. I thought about doing some of those projects, but I just don't want to be overwhelmed. And I think for now, this is what's working for me. I'm able to just have one thing to kind of focus on. And I do want to more finish up things rather than get usage on them. I have my Shop My Stash if I want to just get use out of things. So let me know down below which you prefer, what works for you. I want to set myself up for success. So this is what I'm doing. And I'd love to know what sets you up for success and what works for you, because we're all kind of different. We all have different motivating factors. That's where I'm going to leave you all. I'm going to stop rambling and continuing on. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.